What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Ring the Bell Philly show. Christy, Francisco, Jason Kent, Johnny Mac, they're in the building here tonight. Look, I just said this about 5 minutes ago to my wife. I was like, man, it's really getting boring talking about the Phillies because all they do is win. Like it's like if I had that song queued up right now, I'd be playing it. But hello, everyone. This is a show that follows the current 34 and what is it, 34 and 14 Philadelphia Phillies, who still hold the best record in the Major League Baseball world. Also, they hold a 4.5 game lead over the Atlanta Braves, who continue
possibly
to
five, down 3-0, down 3-0 right now.
Yep. So the Phillies just get done another massive week. They just finish a sweep of the Washington Nationals. Jason, I'm going to start with you, man. Look, I was being facetious by saying, it's boring to cover a team that just nonstop wins. Because as a fan, you really love watching your team just dominate. But Jay, and the same thing to John. This is the team that we expected to see in spring training. And the fact that we got the April that we wanted, May seems to be going even better. This team hasn't lost a series since the beginning of of April.
The Red Series, I think, was
the Red Series. Jason, man, what are we watching right now?
Listen, they're winning, and it's bothersome because I'm just so tired of hearing people are starting to come out now like, oh, it's tired of hearing the Phillies, they're beating bad teams. Well, that's what you're supposed to do. Like, they haven't lost a series since the second series of the season. That's not funny.
It's not funny.
Like, they're winning series that you're supposed to win. They're now plus 80 on the season in run score differential. So listen, you can say what you want, but they're doing what they're supposed to do. This is what we said at the beginning of the season, before we even came and made our predictions that, April and May, it is kind of easy in the beginning, so you have to take advantage of it. And that's what they're doing. And it's something that in years past we haven't seen them do. So it's really good to see them really dominate right now.
Yeah, and I'll go to you, John, about the same thing real quick. But, remember we were talking at the end of April where we thought statistically that the Phillies and the Marlins were neck and neck in terms of the fact that the Phillies had such a good record, but they had scored less runs than the Marlins had, and that was where we were then. And we thought, my gosh, what's going to be going on here? But since then, Jay, like you said, the plus run differential has completely skyrocketed. This offense is just dominating on most nights. But you're right. Where they are right now, and I don't want to hear about, like you said, about who they're playing, because everybody else in baseball is playing the same teams at some point or at the same amount of time, right? If you look around baseball right now, there's really only a couple really good baseball teams. The Phillies are obviously the best team.
The Nationals were the sixth best team in the National League, and
I mean, yeah, the Brewers are 27 and 19. The Dodgers have 32 wins. They're really good. And you look at the American League, the Yankees obviously are 1 game off of the best record in baseball. The Guardians are playing really well. The American League West is always not that good, but still, if you look around baseball, there's a lot of not really good teams to mediocre to average teams. So the Phillies are a really good baseball team doing their job. They're beating teams. They're beating teams they're supposed to beat. They're winning series, which is most important. And they're doing it in dominating fashion. So, John, I'm going to propose the same question to you that I said to Jason. Where this team was in mid to late April, where that run differential was not where we wanted it to be. It was down near the bottom of the National League. From where they were then to where they are now, I'm at the point, and I think Jason is too, where if they lose a game, something drastically terrible has to happen. It's become to that point
now. They're going to lose a game, so I'm not really worried about that. It's just going to happen. That's how you're not like the Mets series. You just played 3 games with the Mets and you won 3 straight games. You're not going to win a 4th. That you can, but it's not going to happen. They're a professional baseball team. It's going to happen, and I'll say that all year when they lose this. They lose 1 game in a series. They're going to lose a game in a series. It's just going to happen. But they're winning series. That's the most important thing. You can't miss the playoffs if you're winning all your series. It's impossible, and you're gonna have a great record while you're doing it. And I'm gonna go with what Tom McCarthy's asked Castellanos today. He was just like, have you ever been part of a team where it's just 1 through 9, every single player is hitting and contributing a lot? And he says, for this, and Castellanos goes, for this long, no, it's something special, and it's like just great to be a part of, and that's what it is. It seems like no matter who they put in the lineup, they are contributing. I mean, look at Clemens the past 2 games. He hits a home run last night in the 9th inning, and he had 2 RBIs today. I mean, he scored a run. He just like everybody they put there. Sosa, look, the guy, and McCarthy said it yesterday. He's like, Sosa thought he was fighting for his life on this team, and Thompson calls him to the offense. He's like, you have like a spot on this team, right? You're like, you're okay, but they just all want to work hard and contribute to this team when they get that opportunity.
And you brought up Cody Clemens, and I was going to say that they're getting production from all over the roster right now. Especially from players who aren't carrying huge expectations. Clemens, for example, we just talked about him. He opened the season in AAA. This is his 2nd call-up of the season. He doubled twice Sunday, scored twice, drove in a pair of runs. He's hitting .321. It's at a point now where he's made himself undeniable and staying with the team. Or, obviously when Turner gets back, they're going to have a couple of decisions they got to make. But what he's doing is completely and totally unexpected because, again, before the season, we all talked about what's the depth of this roster looking like coming off the bench. It doesn't look that good. Obviously, fast forward to May 19th, best team in the world, and a lot of that is because their depth has been so good. Like you said, Edmundo Sosa has been amazing. Cody Clemens has been producing like an everyday all-star since he's gotten the opportunity, right? And especially clutch hits. Like the other night.
Stats in like 20, he has like 28 hit bats. It's all season.
And like that's where this team is right now. And it's crazy because then you look at a guy like Castellanos who he is hitting like 202. So he's not. The fact that they're doing so well and that kind of batting average and, that just kind of goes by the wayside. This is incredible what's being done. They've also seemed to have like this uncanny knack for taking advantage, when giving a little bit of an opening, just like today when they were down a little bit. And that's hard to really look at like in a box score. But, when you're 20 games over 500 this early in the season, there's some really good evidence that this is a team that really just can't be denied no matter what part of the game. If they're down by 1 run, down by 3, it's just absolutely spectacular. And again, it goes to, I know you guys are not going to, I know John's not going to like this. It goes to great coaching as well. This team is so well coached and so well managed that
I'll give you the coach because they have some good hitting coach.
Oh my!
Coach.
I'm just saying, in years past they haven't done this, so we can say what we want about
extraordinary fielding coach who's done amazing work with Alec Boehm. Like a guy who we thought were like is going to be a DH, had to be a DH or play first base. He's playing some of the best third base we've seen out of him this season. He's diving plays left and right. Kevin Long's been a great hitting coach and teaching these guys to hit. You've seen tremendous improvements from Marsh since he was in LA. Rojas is progressing, and even Castellanos, he was struggling. And I think he went to a thing where he just said he's
still struggling.
Didn't work on it. But he was talking about how he didn't make adjustments. He didn't want to make adjustments, and then he comes out and saying he made a mistake in that. And so it seems like he's starting to listen to Kevin Long, and you're seeing more improvements by him. He's hitting 263 in his last 15 games, which it's right around what his normal average is.
We're bragging about 263. Why can't you just give Topper credit, bud? Why can't you just give Topper a little bit of credit?
I think it's like the Dave Roberts. Dave Roberts has been the manager for how long, and what season really has to show for over in LA? Nothing. He's just had great baseball teams, and this is with great rosters. And this is what the Phillies roster is at this point. They have 5 amazing starters at this point. They've been tremendous. No matter who they put out there, they've been tremendous. The bullpen, besides Sir Anthony, who's been a lot better than his last 6 or 7 outings, has been tremendous. Hoffman has been tremendous. And then their lineup.
But this was a team that last year wasn't this like you're sitting here. It's the same exact team as last season. Sosa was here, Clemens. So I think the coaching.
Well, again, remember
coming in,
Harper
having that another year.
Trey Turner stunk for half the season.
Yeah, but it's still
Harper
like
missed,
this dude. You're giving no credit to the guy that has shown he's one of the best. Is a top tier major league coach, and you refuse to give him credit
because he makes so many questionable decisions. I know they're still winning, but he still makes the questionable decision. Why is Stott not playing? Why are certain players not playing? I agree with that.
Why is that?
Why, if you're saying
that's baseball today,
you should know that Stott should be playing almost every single day.
Austin Riley's not playing tonight for Atlanta. That's baseball today.
He's hitting like 180.
But that's just baseball today. You're not going to play 162. Very few players play.
But also, John, you have to give credit also, for the criticisms that we had for a long time with Topper is how he handles the pitching staff. This pitching staff is pitching like an early 2000s, rotation where he's not hooking guys like he used to. Not even like he's basically going into every night that his pitcher is going to get him 6 to 7 innings. And if they are at 95 pitches, they're going to go out there for the
players are performing tremendously. That's why I'm sure they were struggling. He would be yanking guys left and right. If Nola was struggling and he went 5 innings and 5 scoreless innings, he would consider pulling him out in that 5th inning. He's pitching tremendously. So that's why he has had those opportunities to make those decisions because the team's performing. So how can I give somebody that much credit when they're performing well?
Because we've seen in the past
he's adapted to it.
We've seen it in the past. Them get the pull early.
Yes.
Then they should. Earlier than they should. We've 1,000% seen that in the past. So
we saw it earlier in the season, though. But now he is trusting the guys. I will give him. He is trusting the pitching staff. I'll give him that. He's trusting the pitching staff now because you saw it earlier in the season. We were making questions. Why are these guys getting pulled out?
I agree.
Why are they getting sent out? But now he's trusting the guys. So I'll give him the credit that he is trusting the guys. And I'm not going to. He's been very good this season. I'm going to give him that. But I still can't get over the fact that stuff he's made in the past. And you see for a full season, not for 50 games, 60 games. Because we saw Girardi for 60 games and he got fired. So, so you've great 60 games doesn't mean anything. I mean, what did the guy before the Buck Showalter was there at the Mets? He had a hell of a, and then gets fired, and then replaced with Buck Showalter. And that team was on the pace the Phillies are at right now, but he had a great start. He was doing the right things, but then the shit hits the fan, and that just happens.
So let me ask you just flat out. I need you to get, and I know this is on the spot. I need you to give me foundational reasons, solid structural reasons as to why. I point him out
when he makes the decision.
Yeah, but these decisions, because it's baseball.
I think he's too analytical at times. That's what he's very analytical at times.
Is he so analytical, John, that he is what you say he is, one of the top 3 worst managers in the sport?
I was thinking today, I didn't send the message though when he said it. When he said it today, I was like, you know what, maybe, because what he's done, maybe I can put him, maybe 5th now.
Just so brutal.
Because the question, which I appreciate what he did today, because you never see it out of him. I hate that. I really do hate the fact that he really sticks to his guns, where he goes right, left, or left, right, left, right, left, right throughout the lineup instead of putting the best guys.
Well, he didn't do that today.
He didn't do it today, and they scored 11 runs. So that I give him the credit on that, and I think he should do that more. I'm not really super aware. If you have to comes to the point where Stott is so unbelievable, like he's been recently, and you need to put him at the top of the lineup because he's going to score. I know. Then Jason shaking his head because Schwarber's not going to move. But you put Schwarber at 5, maybe even 4, and Bohm at 5th with or something in those lines where you're getting a guy who's going to hit 40 home runs. Imagine him hitting more multi-home runs instead of the solo home runs. And then Jason shaking. Why? What's the point of shaking head? Why would you want your best power hitter to be hitting solo?
Because he's not going to do it. So it doesn't matter even to bring it up. We know it's not going to happen. Okay. I agree with it. I would love to have Schwarber at 4. I've made that argument.
John, we agree with what
I'm 1,000% on it.
Why isn't it?
Listen,
at times?
From the start of this show, from the number 1 episode.
That's correct. Literally.
It's literally been since the number 1 episodes. So it's just at a point you say it, but it's I talked about it and I beat that dead horse for
over a season.
Yeah. So it's just at this point, I'm just it's not going to happen. It doesn't matter. I think they are grooming Stoddy. I could see maybe after this season, Schwarber out and Stott moves up next season to lead off, but I don't think it'll happen this season.
So when I think of a top 3, top 5, maybe top 10 worst manager in a sport, I look at that guy and I go, man, you know what? he's going to lose us games. Like, he's the kind of manager that makes decisions that's going to lose us games. And that's a problem for me.
But I will say
I don't think Thompson is at all a manager that when I'm deep in a game, I don't look at this game and be like, you know what? I think Topper's going to make a decision here that's going to lose this game.
Okay.
So that's how I view
that.
him as a really good manager, because I feel either the offense isn't going to hit the ball or a pitcher who's normally really good is just going to have a bad night. But I have not once, even last year, looked at this and said, you know what? I think the reason they lost this game was because their manager.
Okay. Yeah. Well, a great manager is probably going to lose you 3 games a year. You know?
And that's fine. That's okay.
That's what a great manager. And I think Topper has a chance to, maybe 5, 6, 7 games he could lose for the team.
Okay.
Like at time with his
decision. Out of 162.
And you saw it in the playoffs last year too. There are times with his decision making with the bullpens.
I agree. Look, I agree with that, but when you're 1 through 4, can't touch a ball, you're going to lose. You're going to lose.
Yeah,
series.
that is.
So that part, I
that's why think about it, it's their performance. That's why I'm like, I'm not giving them as much credit you said, because they're performing so well. The team is, and he has nothing to do with how they perform. Ultimately, he really doesn't. He can motivate them a little bit, but it's really the players who are going to.
I understand that. Completely get it. So speaking of performances, let's talk about Sunday. Aaron Nola only gave up 2 hits in 7 innings. Of course, both his hits were home runs. But
that's his Nola home run.
Yes, but he's now 6-2. He's got that ERA, guys, right at just barely over 3. He looks pretty good today. And I'll tell you this, Jay, you were at the game, so I'm not sure if you could see it as well as watching on TV. But his slider and his curveball were on fire today. He had a lot of swings and misses on that pitch, which means to me, Nola is on spot when he's getting guys lunging
with that curveball. I feel like that curveball and that
slider.
He's really feeling
it. Looked really sweet today, and he's been obviously he's doing Nola things, but not as often. He's giving up the 2 home runs or a home run a game, but like last year, the snowball effect would happen where he'd give up the home run and then he would just lose it and give up 3 or 4 more runs. He's really honing it in this year. And it obviously evident of the 3.05 ERA right now. What are you two seeing differently out of Nola that we haven't seen the past couple of years? Because me personally, I'm seeing confidence that just 1 run or a guy getting on base is not going to implode him anymore. He's got confidence in his stuff, and he's got confidence in the team behind him. That, to me, is what's so different about him this year.
I'm looking it's same thing. I mean, he's more confident with the pitch clock because it's another season there, so he's not worried as much when the runner's on base,
right?
And him stealing.
Hit a great pickoff move today, by the way, too.
And it's I feel like he's not, when he gets the 2 strikes, he's not trying to get the strikeout as much as he was. Because he doesn't have, he never really had that.
He shouldn't be trying for strikeouts.
Because he doesn't throw hard enough. You can't really, when his fastball's not on and not moving like it does, when it's jumping, man, he is unbelievable to watch like he was earlier this week. But when he's not jumping, he doesn't have the fastball to overpower somebody because he's only thrown 93 to 95 the majority of the time. So he's not trying to, get that guy out. He's not making that that dumb pitch, and it seems like he's okay with giving up that walk instead of getting that out at times where it comes to a 3-2 count. He's not going for the out as much. He's going to make a good pitch. If it misses, and that's why we're seeing his walks up a lot this year.
Yeah. How about you, Jay?
I just think we've seen this Nola in the past. It's just how long can he give it to you for? Early in the season, I think he was having a big walk problem. I think his whip was up early in this season. I remember it being around 1.3.
Yeah.
He's got it down right around 1 again.
Yep.
Oh, as listen, he's the one hurt today because he did give up the walk before the bomb. But listen, you make the joke quality start. You really need to see the home runs down, and it's tough because when you're giving that up, you said we've seen it in the past. Him just kind of have that, the snowball effect where it just gets him and you hope it doesn't come play out. But this is a Nola we've seen in the past that can, he can finish in the Cy Young Award, top 4 guy. So you just hope,
3 guys who are top 10 right now.
So you're hoping he figured it out. Like if he continues to see it, and it's got to be kind of a rolling effect because he sees Wheeler and he sees Ranger pitching so well. he doesn't want to be that third guy out. I think it's it's kind of that snowball effect as well, where he's really turned it around the last month and a half of the season, where he's really just started to hone in and really pitch well and be confident, like you said, and he's just hitting his spots now.
And the pressure of getting paid is off. Maybe that's what was so bad last year. He was under a tremendous amount of pressure to perform well to get that contract that he wanted, and he got even more than he actually ended up getting, even though he performed terribly. So that's off his shoulders now. He's set here to be a Philly probably the rest of his career.
Like his last 41 innings, he's got a 280 ERA. Like
it's really good, man.
He's really
that puts you in the top 5 or 6 of a Cy Young.
Yeah, so
Phillies also might be the only team with 2 complete games this year. Shutouts, I think. Did Ranger have a shutout? Was it a shutout?
Rangers, I think, was a shutout, wasn't it?
I'm pretty sure Ranger was a shutout.
We got 2 complete. I mean, we're the only team in baseball with that right now.
Let me kind of ask you guys here. Do you have any concerns right now with Zach Wheeler? Over his last 2 starts, he's given up 8 earned runs. He's had 6 walks,
he gave 6 runs
9 hits.
He had 6 runs in one game. He had a bad. He just wasn't on that day. It happens.
I agree,
you can't always have it.
He's walking guys at a more rate than he normally does. But still, that's still a guy that's the top of your rotation. I'm just wondering if there's any concern out of you guys. And he's in his last 5 starts, he's throwing 7 1/3, 4 innings, 7, 5, and 6. So just wonder, what you guys are thinking. He's got in those last 5 starts, what's that? 7. He's got 13 walks in his last 5 starts. So, is that any worry or concern for you guys that maybe his location's off? Any concern? I mean, of all the out of the top 3, and he's kind of the guy that's been not as on as he was in the very beginning of the season.
No, it's until I see it for like a longer period of time.
Yeah,
I can't really be too concerned about it because I know what he is and I know what he's been earlier in the season. It could just be one of those stretch where he's kind of he has to get back in his little groove. Feel how it's going. He just he just hasn't been sharp. It's not really like he hasn't been pitching bad. He's making some really good pitches. He just hasn't been as sharp. He's just missing sometimes on these spots.
Right.
And I think he's good. I think they're going to work with him. He's going to watch the film of his pitches and all the analytic stuff that they do, to see all that stuff where he's missing and what he's in the spin rate and all that stuff. And they're going to work with him. I'm not super worried until I see it over a period of time. I mean, remember a few years ago, Scherzer was struggling a little bit, and then all of a sudden he just came in and absolutely was, boom, he's back to the same guy again. It just let him, figure it out. And if he doesn't figure it out, then we can start, hitting the panic button on him.
Yeah. Really cool stat here from the Phillies. This comes from Brian Spader on Twitter or X. The Phillies are 26-6 over their last 32 games. They have played 21,534 games in franchise history. The last time they had a better 32-game stretch at any point in any season was May 28th to July 1st, 1892, when they went on a 27-5 run. They also had 26-6 stretches in 1895 and 1976. Wow. So this is a team that's been around since America, and this is only like the second time that they've done something like this.
Most losses in baseball history.
Yeah,
sports history.
Well, I mean, when you've been around since, again, the Declaration of Independence was signed, you're going to.
I was actually before we started, I was watching the National Treasure.
Yeah, that movie's a gem. That movie is a treasure. And this other person posted a really good tweet as well. He works for the New York Post, and he's like, "Are we really sure the Phillies aren't legitimately better than the Braves? Acuna, Olsen, Riley, they're not hitting. Harris has been awful. Arcia was obviously a one-year wonder, which we all knew that. And Kelnick, who I've been telling people forever is not a Major League Baseball player. They've got issues. They don't have a 5th starter. Strider's out. Chris Sale's, credit to John. Chris Sale's been doing a lot better than advertised. Than I and Jason probably.
The Braves aren't stupid. They're not going to make a move like that and give up a guy like Vaughn Grisham, like who had good potential. It's that young just for that. They're not stupid.
And I said before the season, I just felt like the Braves were a team that's meant to fall this year. And I'm looking really good with it right now, and I'm just going to keep riding that train right now. But looking at what we've seen so far this year. Why did everyone think it was crazy when I said that the Phillies were better than the Braves?
Because the Phillies haven't proved that they're better than the Braves in the regular season. In the playoffs, they proved that they've been a better team, but regular season-wise, they really haven't proved it. And then on paper, before Strider went down, if you look at it, they were better. I would have took their first three over Ranger, but now I wouldn't. I definitely wouldn't take their first three starters. Of course. But now at this point, you can't see what the Rangers going to do, and I wouldn't. They haven't got their stride. They've been a second-half team like the Phillies the past few seasons. If you last year, the Phillies could have gained a lot of ground because they were playing tremendously, but the Braves were playing so much better at that point last year, where Phillies just could never catch up at the second half of the season. And the same thing happened 2 years ago when the Mets had that 10.5 game lead and the Braves just went on that run again. So maybe pump the brakes on that. But I do think that the Phillies they're up there. It's not like they probably are better at this point, but they're still there. When I'm sure the Braves are going to hit their stride, and those hitters. Acuna is not going to be this type of hitter all season long. Olsen's not going to be this guy all season long. And Riley's not going to be this hitter. So they're proven guys in this league, and they're going to get better. I'd be more worried about their pitching staff at this point, losing Strider, and the only guy pitching well is Sale.
So before we get to a couple offensive things, kudos to the Philadelphia Phillies faithful.
6-0 Padres, by the way. Phillies are going to be up 5 games.
Amazing. I love every second of it. There is it's almost like
I like
as good as a climax when I see the Braves doing so poorly. So it's sex is good, but have you ever seen the Braves slump really bad?
I like the Mets. I like when the Mets lose. I don't care if the Mets are good or not.
But the Mets are, their fans and their franchise are just embarrassing, and it's so great. They can rot in hell. I have to give credit to the Phillies fans, man. Today's crowd was 44,713, which is the biggest crowd at Citizens Bank Park since June 22nd of 2019. So that's just spectacular.
That's weird.
I disagree. I was in the playoffs last year, and there was crowds bigger than that.
Maybe it was a regular season, but that's what someone from the Phillies.
I think another thing too with the crowds right now. I think last year the Phillies had this start. Last year we would have saw that, but they had that such bad start that the fans, lost trust in them again. Even though they made that World Series run, they know that they're going to be good and they're going to keep going. And they're going to keep going and keep going if they keep winning.
Look, Alec Boehm continued his hot streak again today, guys. He had 5 RBIs on Sunday, 2 sac flies, and a 3-run home run. Say what?
He is the National League leader in RBIs. He might be in baseball at this point.
Yeah. Bryson Stott extended his on-base streak to a career high of 18 games. Nick Castellanos, is still in a season-long slump. Still had 3 hits.
But it seems like when he gets he'll get 3 hit games and then go 0 for 9 and then go 3 hit game again. It's it's kind of what not bringing him up on purpose, but what Schwarber did last year. He would go have 3 or 4 games where he was really hitting, and then he would go 1 for his next 20. It's just so odd how this just keeps happening. And Schwarber, man, I can't complain about the guy. The guy's playing very, very well right now for a guy who doesn't usually peak till June.
Yeah. And he's batting over 210 right now, which is amazing.
He's been a 220s.
Yeah, stud. Hey, look, Jason. We all thought Jason was crazy when he said 250.
I thought he was going to be
it's only 211.
211. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's low.
How dare you? No, 190 is low. He's so high right now. All right. So we have another incredible week by the Phils coming up this week. Again, it's just one of those things where the league isn't that good. So it's just going to keep happening where, the excuse just can't happen anymore because it's the Phillies don't make the schedule. They have no control over what other teams do. And we've already established that the rest of baseball only has 3 or 4 really good standout teams.
I do want to see them play good teams and see what they're going to do against good teams. And we'll see it this week. I do want to see that, though. I know they're doing their job.
Teams aren't that really good this week.
We have 3 against the Rangers and 3 against the Rockies this week. So I'm going to have to wait a little bit till we get to another good team. June 3rd.
June's when it starts. That's when your schedule starts to pick up.
You have the Brewers, you have the Red Sox, the Orioles, so Diamondbacks. June is a month where you'll see some decent baseball teams, which is why it's so important for the Phillies to have another bang out May, which is what they're doing right now anyway.
And credit to Bochy, though. I mean, that team is destroyed with injuries, and they somehow are above 500. I don't know how they're doing that. Or they're 500 now. They were above 500, and they have every single player on that team is hurt.
3 against the Rangers, and then 3 against the Rockies. Boys, what are your expectations for this week?
5-1.
Yeah, 5-1. Okay. 5-1. They'll lose.
So 5-1 is also. Yeah, they might knock one.
I will be disappointed if they lose one to the Rockies, but what can you do?
What can you do? So yeah, I'm also going to go with a 5-1 week. Again, if it's better than that, it wouldn't surprise me, right? What this team is doing is great. 4-2. Someone said John says 4-2. I was thinking 4-2, but of course it's possible. But this team is just playing so well right now.
You can't.
The way they're playing, that's why I said
one game a week at this point.
Hey, look, the way they're playing, like I just said, if they went 6-0, I'd come on here Sunday and be like, "Well, I'm not shocked."
Wait, they are losing 1 game a week. We're 7 weeks into the year, and they're losing 1 game a week. That is why.
They haven't lost a series. That
is unbelievable.
I know they lead Major League Baseball in sweeps. I know they
play 2 games a week. 2 games a week. My bad.
2 games, about 2 games. So they play. It was a 2-game away series against the Mets, but they still swept. It's technically a series sweep. Played 2 games against them, and they swept that. So this is a team that just keeps on winning. The entire offense is producing. The pitchers just keep throwing that nut, man. Like what they're doing is spectacular on the mound. And that's how you're going to keep winning.
Is Walker going to be okay?
I don't care, to be honest with you. I'm sorry.
Well, because Turnbull pitched today, so that's scary.
Well, Turnbull tried to pitch today.
Well, yeah.
He did. But you are right. I mean, I haven't seen an update on
He's
Walker.
scheduled to start this week.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think he threw a bullpen today, actually. I'm pretty sure he's either throwing a bullpen today or when they practice tomorrow.
I just didn't see anything about it, so I'm assuming it just was like a precautionary thing to get him out of
that. So we'll see where that goes.
And he sucked that day, and he sucked too. So
yeah, that was rough. So 3 against the Rangers, 3 against the Rockies coming up. The Phillies right now are the number 1 team in baseball. The Yankees are. My preseason predictions looking good right now, boys. I said Yankees and Phillies in the World Series. So
and the Yankees are Cole,
and they're doing that without Garrett Cole and
and Judge sucked half the year too.
I know, but Judge and Soto right now they're incredible. It's like, what would you rather have?
And Stan's starting to get going too now. He's been really hot too.
I'll ask you this, and when all 4 of these guys are on, this was proposed. I saw this on X by Major League Baseball's Twitter account. Who would you rather have right now, fully healthy, playing every day? Ohtani, Betts, or Judge, Soto?
Judge and Soto.
Wow.
Probably would go Judge and Soto too, because you were telling me they're hitting more home runs than those guys.
Yeah.
They're driving in
Mookie Betts has like a 450 on base percentage.
Yeah, but Judge, you can tell me on Judge, that's a 60
home run guy. Oh yeah, on Judge.
If you're telling me those 2 guys, Soto probably is going to 35 home runs and Judge is hitting 60-some home runs, close to 60. Like that's just they're on the entire year. That's
just crazy. But okay, yeah. Thank you guys very much. Again, head over to SeatGeek.com right now. Use our code RINGTHEBELL for $20 off your very first ticket purchase. Again, if you want to get out to Citizens Bank Park, get your tickets now, everyone. I mean, it's selling out almost every single night right now. Just historic. At the end of the season, I think it's going to be a historic amount of fans that are crossing those turnstiles. So again, SeatGeek.com. Use our code RINGTHEBELL for $20 off your very first ticket purchase. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and of course, ring that bell for show notifications when we go live. Coming up this week, the Phillies have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I will certainly try to get a show Thursday night. I'm not going to promise anything. But again, they go right into a series on Thursday. So there's no off days again, except for tomorrow, but we record on Sundays. So if we don't have a show midweek, as always, we'll be here Sunday night to recap the entire week. So again, you'll see us as always, normal time every single Sunday. And hopefully maybe we'll be here midweek, probably Thursday after the Rangers series. All right. So for Johnny Mack and Jason Kent, I'm Christy Francesco. Thank you guys so very much Philadelphia Phillies, baby, the best team in Major League Baseball still. It can't get much better than this. So have a great rest of your weekend, everybody. Enjoy another week of Phillies baseball. And as always, go Phils.